Hey Petside people, it's me Victoria, and I thought it would be fun for a change of pace to do a top 5 vlog. So for this first one, I would like to do the top 5 mistakes that people make when they bring home their new rescue dog. So in no particular order, here is mistake number 1. So you've got your new dog home, you did all the shopping, you've got the bowls, you've got the cute leash and collar, but the one thing you forgot to buy, a tag. And let me tell you, I made this mistake too with this fat beauty queen right here. Oh my gracious! Olive. When we brought her home, clearly I own a dog store, we had everything we could need, but it was weeks before I thought, oh my gosh, my dog needs a tag. Obviously the reason for that is the dog is new to you, new to the home, your neighbors don't know you have a new dog yet, so if something happens, if someone leaves she's making her bed, if someone leaves a door open or the back gate open and your dog takes off, he doesn't know how to get home. So first thing you need to do, new dog, new tag, or you can do a little microchip in the back. We actually have both for her. I wish you could see what she's doing right now. It's really ridiculously cute. But anyway, that is mistake number 1. So on to mistake number 2. So this is a really common one. You get your dog home and you want to spend every possible minute with your dog because you want him to get to know you and get to know the household. But the problem comes when you take an entire week off and you spend every minute together, and then Monday rolls around and you've got to go back to work. So I think a happy medium, rather than committing mistake number 2, which is spending every second with your puppy and never giving him a chance to be by himself, is kind of mimicking what happens in your everyday life, even if you did take time off. So get your dog used to you leaving the house. If you're crating, which is a great idea, crate your dog so he gets used to that as well. And then when the time comes that you actually do have to go to work, it won't be quite so traumatic for your dog and for you. So rescue dog mistake number 3 is another really common one, and I hear it here at Life on the Leash all the time. People will say, oh my gosh, I know my dog was abused by a guy because she's petrified of guys, or she totally freaks out when she sees someone wearing a hat, or someone carrying a broom. But the reality is your dog probably wasn't exposed to these things during that critical socialization period. Just because he's got fearfulness for, men in hats or brooms or whatever, doesn't mean that he suffered this awful Cinderella-style fate as a young dog. More than likely, it's due to a lack of exposure, a lack of socialization, and it is something you can deal with through counter-conditioning and desensitization. So, yeah, it might be interesting to think that your dog lived this horrible, deprived existence, but more than likely, it's just a case of lack of socialization. Mistake number 4, not giving your dog a place of her own. If your dog came from a foster care scenario where she was being crated, continue to use the crate, because if your dog is comfortable in it, it's a wonderful training tool, and it's also a nice little haven for your dog to escape into if things get a little too hectic in the house. If you're not crating, it's also a good idea to have a bed or a place where your dog can say, okay, this is where I rest. In terms of having dogs sleep in bed with you, especially right when they get home, probably not the best idea. Now, I am a trainer that doesn't really mind dogs sleeping in bed, and that's not a very popular opinion. But I think initially it's important for the dog to establish, a place of her own. You sleep in bed, and then once you guys have figured out the rhythms of your relationship, then you can think about introducing communal sleeping in your bed. Here we are at number 5. So the number 5 mistake is another common one. I kind of sound like a broken record. But it's making the assumption that your adult dog, your adult rescue, is fully potty trained. Now, even though a dog might be physically capable of holding urine and feces, it doesn't mean that he learned to do it. A lot of dogs are relinquished to shelters just because their people never taught them where they're supposed to potty. So rather than making the assumption, my adult dog should know what to do, Assume that you have an 8-week-old puppy for the first few weeks until you can teach him where he needs to go, or at least confirm that he knows where he needs to go. You'll want to give him treats right after he potties outside, keep an eye on him when he's in the house, don't let him go around corners and do his own thing, and then once you have a few weeks of a reward history and you understand that your dog understands, then you can give him a little more household freedom. So that is it for the top 5 mistakes that people make with their new rescue dogs. Thanks for checking it out on PetSide, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!